If you mean a supernatural event where the sky opens up and angels pour out bowls of wrath, then no. But if you interpret apocalypse as the collapse of the natural world, the drying up of our life sources, and the transformation of a paradise into a toxic salt wasteland due to human mismanagement, then yes, it is exactly that. The ancient prophecies warned that water turning to blood would signal the end of a civilization. Looking at the dry, red salt flats of Lake Urmia, it's hard to argue they were wrong. The science explains the how, but the red water explains the now. It is a warning. And the question isn't whether the prophecy is true. The question is, are we going to listen before the next lake turns red? If you found this deep dive fascinating and a little terrifying, hit that subscribe button. We are tracking the planet's most extreme phenomena, and you don't want to miss the next investigation. We have mapped the surface of Mars with better resolution than we have mapped the caves beneath our own feet. Think about that for a second. We can zoom in on a crater on the moon from an app on our phone, but right here, on our own home planet, there are massive, sprawling continents hidden in the dark that we know almost nothing about. We assume the map is finished. We assume every mountain has been climbed and every ocean charted. But that is a lie. Deep beneath the crust, there is a secondary world. A world of absolute silence. A world of crushing pressure. A world where the sun has never shone. And yet, life has found a way. We are talking about caverns so colossal they could swallow an entire New York City block, skyscrapers and all. We are talking about labyrinths so long they stretch across state lines. And we are talking about pits so deep, dropping a stone into them feels like dropping it into the center of the earth. Today, we aren't just looking at rocks. We are descending into the veins of the planet. We are going to explore the three most extreme underground worlds in existence. The largest, the longest, and the deepest. This is the final frontier. Welcome to the underworld. Our descent begins in the dense, suffocating jungles of central Vietnam. Phong Nha Ke Bang National Park isn't just a forest. It is a fortress of limestone. For centuries, locals whispered legends about a specific spot in the mountains. They avoided it. They feared it. They said that if you got close enough, you could hear the mountain breathing. They weren't wrong. In 1991, a local logger named Ho Khan stumbled upon a cliff face. But he didn't just see a hole, he felt it. A powerful roaring wind was blasting out of the entrance, carrying the sound of a raging river from somewhere deep inside. It sounded like a dragon. Terrified, he fled, and the jungle swallowed the location back up. For nearly 2 decades, the entrance to the largest cave on Earth was lost again. It wasn't until 2009 that a team of British cavers, led by Khan, finally conquered the beast. They named it Hang Son Doong, Mountain River Cave. And when they rappelled 80 meters down into the darkness, they realized they hadn't just found a cave. They had found an alien planet. The scale of Son Doong creates a glitch in the human brain. The main passage is over 5 kilometers long, but it's the height that terrifies you. It is 200 meters high and 150 meters wide. To visualize that, imagine a Boeing 747 flying through the cave. It could bank left and right without its wings ever scraping the walls. It is a void of 38.5 million cubic meters. But the true shock isn't the rock, it's the life. Millions of years ago, the ceiling of this limestone cathedral collapsed in 2 places, creating massive skylights called dolines. Sunlight flooded into the abyss, and nature took over. Today, if you stand at the bottom of Son Doong, you aren't standing on cold stone. You are standing in a lush green jungle. Trees shoot up 30 meters toward the light. Monkeys swing from the vines. Snakes slither through the underbrush. The cave is so massive it has its own climate. Hot air from outside meets the cool air of the underground river, creating actual clouds that form inside the chamber. You can watch it rain inside the earth, while the sun shines above ground. It is a world within a world, a Garden of Eden frozen in time. But while Son Doong dominates in sheer volume, it is not the ruler of length. To find the endless labyrinth, we have to travel to the rolling hills of Kentucky, to a place that feels less like a singular wonder and more like an infinite prison. This is Mammoth Cave. The name is fitting, but it doesn't even begin to describe the reality. Mammoth is the longest cave system known to man, and it isn't even close. As of the latest surveys, Explorers have mapped a staggering 426 miles of interconnected tunnels. That is 686 kilometers. That is roughly the distance from New York City to Cleveland, Ohio, entirely underground. The history of mapping this beast is a thriller in itself. For decades, geologists knew there was a massive system nearby called Flint Ridge. They suspected Mammoth and Flint were connected, that they were one giant organism, but they couldn't find the link. It became the holy grail of caving. The breakthrough happened in 1972, in a moment that would trigger claustrophobia in anyone watching. A slim caver named Patricia Crowther was pushing through a muddy, tight, waterlogged canyon deep in the Flint Ridge system. The gap became so narrow that the larger men on the team couldn't pass. Patricia exhaled, squeezed her ribcage, and pushed through the tight spot. On the other side, on a limestone wall, she saw a set of initials, Pete H. It was the signature of a guide from the Mammoth side. The connection was made. The two systems were one. In that single, breathless moment, the world record was shattered. But Mammoth isn't just rocks, it's a tomb. Because the air is so dry and the temperature so stable, the cave preserves everything. Explorers have found the remains of cane torches used by Native Americans 4,000 years ago. They've found ancient woven sandals. They've even found naturally mummified bodies. In the 1840s, a doctor even tried to build an experimental hospital for tuberculosis patients inside the cave, believing the air would cure them. It didn't. It just became a dark, damp place to die. Walking through Mammoth today, you aren't just walking through geology. You are walking through a graveyard of human history. We've seen the biggest, we've seen the longest. Now we have to face the scariest. If caving had a final boss, it would be Verevkina. Located in the violently rugged Arabica Massif in Georgia, this cave isn't a horizontal walk. It is a vertical plummet. It is the deepest cave on Earth. The current record depth is 2,212 meters. That's 7,257 feet. Let's try to visualize that. Take the Empire State Building. Now stack 7 of them on top of each other. Now bury that entire stack underground. That is the commute to the bottom of Verevkina. This is not a tourist destination. This is the Everest of the underground, but in reverse. Exploring Verevkina takes a team of highly trained speleologists over a week just to reach the bottom. They have to live in the dark, sleeping in suspended tents, battling hypothermia in temperatures hovering just above freezing, and the danger is constant. The cave is essentially a giant drain for the mountain above. If a storm hits the surface, the water doesn't just trickle down. It floods. A flash flood in a cave this deep is a death sentence. There is no escape. You are trapped in a cold, dark washing machine of stone. When explorers finally reach the bottom, they hit the terminal sump, a dark pool where the cave dives into the water table. Reaching this point is one of the hardest physical achievements on the planet. It is the closest a human being can get to the center of the Earth without drilling machinery. It is the absolute bottom of the world. From the cloud-filled chambers of Vietnam to the infinite tunnels of Kentucky, and down to the crushing depths of Georgia, these caves remind us of a humbling truth. We walk around on the surface, building our cities and checking our phones, completely oblivious to the alien worlds beneath our heels. The Earth is not solid. It is a honeycomb of mystery. And the craziest part? We have only found the ones with entrances we can see. Geologists estimate there are thousands of kilometers of caves still hidden, disconnected, and untouched by human eyes. The greatest discovery of our lifetime might not be on Mars. It might be right under your house. If this deep dive into the dark sparked your curiosity, hit that subscribe button. We are going to keep mapping the unknown, from the bottom of the ocean to the edge of space. And you don't want to get left behind. Which of these 3 caves would you dare to enter? Let us know in the comments below. More people have walked on the surface of the moon than have visited the deepest point of our own ocean. Let that sink in. We have sent rovers to Mars. We have photographed black holes billions of light years away. But right here, on our home planet, 80% of the ocean floor remains unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored. We call Earth the blue planet. But that blue surface is just a mask. Beneath the waves lies a world of crushing darkness, immense pressure, and creatures that look like they crawled out of a nightmare. It is a place where sound behaves strangely. where mountains rise higher than Everest, and where entire ships vanish without a trace. For centuries, sailors whispered stories of sea monsters and lost cities. Today, we have sonar, submarines, and satellites, and yet the ocean is still throwing up mysteries that science struggles to explain. From strange metallic anomalies in the Baltic Sea to a sound so loud it terrified the US government, the deep ocean is hiding secrets. Today, we are diving into the abyss. We are going to explore the 5 greatest enigmas of the deep, peeling back the layers of water to reveal the truth about what is really down there. Our first stop takes us to the murky, cold waters of the Baltic Sea. In June 2011, a team of Swedish treasure hunters was scanning the seabed, looking for old shipwrecks. They were bored, they were tired. And then, their sonar pinged back an image that made their blood run cold. Resting 300 feet down wasn't a ship. It was a massive, perfectly circular object, 200 feet wide. It looked industrial. It had rigid lines, right angles, and features that looked disturbingly like corridors and staircases. And trailing behind it, a 1,000-foot-long gouge in the seabed, as if this colossal disk had crash-landed and skidded to a halt. The media went into a frenzy. They called it the Baltic Sea UFO. It looked uncannily like the Millennium Falcon. When divers went down to investigate, their equipment started glitching. Satellite phones died. Cameras cut out when they got too close. They described the surface not as rock, but as something resembling burnt concrete. Geologists eventually stepped in, analyzing samples and concluding it was likely a glacial deposit, a freak of nature formed during the Ice Age. But the divers who touched it, who felt the electrical interference, still aren't convinced. Is it just a rock, or is it something else, sleeping in the silt? We move from sight to sound. In the summer of 1997, deep in the South Pacific, underwater microphones belonging to the US government picked up something impossible. These sensors were designed to track Soviet nuclear submarines. They were listening for the faint hum of engines. Instead, they heard a roar. It was a low-frequency sound, rising in pitch, lasting for over a minute. They called it the bloop, but the cute name hid a terrifying reality. The sound was detected by sensors 3,000 miles apart. For a sound to travel that far underwater, it had to be louder than a blue whale, the loudest animal known to science. The immediate theory? A monster. A massive unknown biological entity lurking in the abyss. The coordinates were even eerily close to the fictional sunken city of R'lyeh from H.P. Lovecraft's horror stories. For 15 years, the mystery remained unsolved. Finally, NOAA scientists found the answer, and it wasn't a monster. It was the planet itself screaming. The sound was an ice quake, the cracking and fracturing of a massive Antarctic iceberg. It was the sound of the climate changing. A geological groan so loud it mimicked life. But sometimes the mystery isn't about what we hear, but what we see.